Subscribe to my channel if this is the new or a remix. Don't forget to hit the like and sub. This is your boy Turk Vincent on the mic. Gotta subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow my stream, send me some bits and send me some subs on my Twitch and my YouTube. I'll put the dollar in the bank that you give me, so I can use it for some good gifties. This is a gaming channel. This is the Turk Vincent Valentine, boy! What's up, my archfiends of chaos? Your king of the night, Vincent Valentine EX Turk. Come back at you with a brand new video before taking a nap and cooking for the family. And this is actually something that just came to my attention because of Twitter and stuff like that. And I gotta say, Twitter, even though I don't like Twitter most of the time, I really don't like Twitter most of the time because it becomes an SJW or the opposite ends, battlegrounds to come at you and attack you and troll you for you having ideas. But there's actually some good things on Twitter that helps you, that needs to be addressed. Even though Twitter has become more of an activism site, there is some activism that I think is kind of necessary. What I'm talking about is, do girl gamers face harassment in the game community? I gotta say yes. And I'm only gonna pull from my examples and not pull from social justice stuff like that because social justice people or people that just can't take, harsh criticisms. As for regular people, I'm talking about regular people. Now, if we keep this up, there's not going to be no more girls in gaming, meaning that it's going to be hard for us guys to have females in our hobby. It's 2018, so we need to be more accepting. Now, I get that, yes, e-girls are bad. And e-girls are part of the reason why girl gamers get bashed. Which, see, that's where the problem lies. Because we pretty much generalize that all girls would be like this, and that's not true. I do follow good girl gaming streamers. I follow Lady Hylia, was now Hylia Fox, Susie Lou, two good girl gamers. Good girl gaming streams that are legitimate, and I follow other ones too. But nonetheless, it's like at some point, there's got to be at some point where we're more accepting of others in the gaming community. If this harassment keeps going on, we're not going to have girls interested in our hobbies anymore. We're not. And then we'll be back to the dark ages. I get that there's people out there that wants traditionalism to stick. You know what? Some traditionalism is good, and some was kind of bad. You got to admit, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, weren't good times. I'm sorry, but they were not good times. They were bad times. Okay? They were just as bad, I'm not saying 2018 is the pinnacle of good years, or 2017 is. I'm just saying we could be as a gaming community, if we be more accepting to females and not go after them, not troll, not bully them, then it would make their lives easier. No one wants to go stream on Twitch if they're being bullied. So I think it's and I see most guys go after females. Now, if they don't just bully them, there's the type of guys that get thirsty. And I ain't talking about the white knights. I've already addressed the white knights in many videos before. I'm talking about the guys who just directly go on here and just only, while she's trying to enjoy the game and play the game and be immersed in the game, there's guys like, ooh, hey, sexy, I want some of that, and stuff like that. It's just that kind of stuff needs to stop. We need to have a stop at some point. We need to have a stop at some point and look at what we're doing and how we're doing things. Because if this keeps going on, then, we're going to go back to the dark ages where video gamers were weird. And we don't want to go back to those dark ages. We want to stay within 2018, because it's 2018. Look, I ain't a SJW at all, but I will advocate for women's rights in the gaming community, because you can't just go for men's rights and not women's rights. It don't happen like that. If you believe in equal rights, you go for both sides of the spectrum, You go for all parts of the spectrum and try to be fair. I think if we try to be more fair to people and not be, nasty or mean or evil toward, people, different kinds of people, then you know what? I think the game community can end up being a less toxic environment, because I've noticed how toxic the gaming environment goes. I've even experienced toxicity myself. Even though I'm a man, I've experienced some of the toxicity. Now, it's not as bad as when I watch like legitimate girl streamers. When I watch girl streamers, there's always those 2, 3, 4, or 5 or 6, how many, whatever it is, either a couple of them are hitting on her inappropriately while she's trying to enjoy the game, or the other ones are just trolling and bullying her and telling her, oh, you're a girl, you should be playing you can't play like this, oh, you must be an e-girl, you must be an e-girl, and that's where the problem lies. I think if we try to be more accepting and try to be a more positive and upbuilding movement, because let's be honest, girls are, there are queens. There are, and the fact we finally got girls interested in the video games, we need to keep that going. Now, I get e-girls are bad. Now, I get it. E-girls are kind of the cause of this, too. So, I'm going to also go on e-girls as well. If you do, dear e-girls, if you do less of what you do on Twitch, I'm pretty sure other people will be more will be more accepting, as well as, with the ladder and stuff like that. If you just, cut back and stop what you're doing. But at the same time, it's both. It's a both problems. It's the e-girls' problems for making a bad stereotype, and it's also the trolls' fault, because, well, trolls are toxic and they need to be off every social media, because, they're a danger to themselves and other people. But the point I'm trying to say is that we need to make a better environment. And it's like, at some point, we need to make a better environment for everybody else, and not just try to be only for ourselves. Now, for a couple of years, actually 3 or 4 years ago, I was all about myself. I was all about, I was a brute, okay? I was an extreme brute, Didn't care about anyone or anything, I didn't give a shit about anything or anyone. And then when you start to realize it, we gotta start caring, because if one person falls, we all fall. Equal rights is what it is. Equal rights. You can't just go for men's rights and not women's rights. You need both and have an equilibrium. You can't have light without darkness. You gotta have those two intertwine with each other. But the point I'm trying to say is that we need to be more fair to women in the gaming industry than we are. We need to kind of cut back on with disgusting flirting type tactics where we need to quit sending pictures of our genitals, quit spamming marry me and all that stuff, and and talk to the girl about the game. I'm telling you right now, and I guess this could be some game advice for nerds who go on these girls' streams and videos and everything that they're playing video games on. Why don't you try to start talking about the game that she's playing? I'm pretty sure if you talk about the game that she's playing, you wouldn't have a problem getting those digits if you talk about the game that she's playing. Instead of like, oh, you're beautiful, 15 times, because they've heard it 25%. Or, and the same thing with your trolls. Instead of you being mean and being a dick, why don't you actually just try to talk about the game to get her interested into the topic? That's a better way of getting digits, but even if you're not, the point is, I think that we need to make a better space for female gamers as a whole, because, and again, I'm only basing off of what I've seen personally, and I have seen some pretty messed up stuff, like I've seen I've seen like websites where they dedicate taking every girl streamer, even ones that aren't e-girls, that are legitimate streamers, like a whole bunch of hateful things posted on it. It's like the ED page and stuff like that. I've seen forums like that before. It's disgusting, it's juvenile, and some people need to grow up and quit making them forums. If you're making them forums, you need to grow the fuck up, because this has just got in. At some point, we gotta wake up and realize it's 2018. Traditionalism isn't really isn't all that bad all the time. It isn't all that bad all the time. But you really gotta realize it's 2018. We gotta live by a certain set of new rules. We do. Whether you like it or not, we're gonna have to live by a different set of rules than what we're used to, what we're accustomed to. And you gotta learn those rules, because that's how society functions, is if we learn the new rule book. I'm sorry that the old rule book don't work. It's like playing a card game. You can't play Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Final Fantasy if you only read the old rule books of how to play those. Of course, Final Fantasy is still brand new, so they're not gonna have a new rule book. But you know, you're not gonna be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, you know, with the old style format, because there's new cards and new archetypes of cards that change the game forever. And just like card games change their game over and over, it's the same thing with the real world. The real world changes its rules and bylaws, and you either be accepting of the change, or you just, well, end up looking like an ignorant troglodyte, I guess. But unfortunately, you know, I'm just saying that it's unfortunate to see girl gamers constantly go through the struggles that they're going through, you know, over and over and over again. Especially the good female gamers, you know, I know. They go through it. They go through it worse. They get trolled more than I do. 100 times. 100 times. And I think it's kind of unfair, you know. Now, I don't think I've seen like crazy stuff like you know, rape threats, but I bet you they do get rape threats, and that's gotta stop. The stuff on the Twitter's gotta stop. The forums bashing every single girl gamer's gotta stop. You know, not and thinking and have the notion that every girl gamer is an e-girl is gotta stop, because not everyone's an e-girl. And there's also e-girls gotta stop doing what they gotta do, because you know, you put a negative stereotype for the whole community, and that's not fair. You know, that's not fair to do that. It's not fair to stereotype a whole community at the same time. So what I'm trying to say, I know some people think I'm crazy for this, like, oh, you need to grow up, stop acting like a little libtard. Well, if we don't change some of the stuff we're doing, if we don't have change, we'll never grow. You'll never grow if you don't change some of your thinking. When you learn something new, you're supposed to throw out your old rules, your old ways, and change. You're not going to change if you stay a kid forever, you know. Now, when I'm growing up as a kid, you know, I think it was started to be pretty normal for girls to play video games, because when I was at when the first daycare I had, like the very first daycare I went to, I was playing Super Nintendo with some girl there at that daycare when when we were like, I think it was like 5 or 6. I can't remember. I can't remember, but it's like, you know, so I don't really understand where people get disgusted at girl gamers, because I mean, even because, well, I was, you know, born I was in the 90s. I was a kid in the 90s. I was a 90s kid, so, but nonetheless, it's like we should be happy we're at the time where girls are accepting of geek hobbies, because if they weren't, geek hobbies wouldn't be at its highest point. If it wasn't for people like Jessica Negri, if it wasn't for some of the good girl streamers out there, if it wasn't for any of that, we wouldn't have what we have. It's the point, you know, to make nerd culture look good. Even the conventions look good because they get paid to go there to look good. The point I'm trying to say is, you know, we need to be more fair. If we could be a lot fairer to female gamers than we were, you know, in 2017 and 2016, then that'd be, you know, that'd be Gucci. That'd be Gucci. You know, that'd be Gucci right there, if you can actually do that, because, you know, if we have no females in our fandom, it's gonna be really hard to, you know, we're just making a new change, and we gotta change with the times. Now, may the crystal be with you. This might be controversial. You could type in the comments below, but I just think change needs to be done, so that's why I'm addressing stuff like this. So may the crystal